Greetings, Dan Halligan from KN Games, and this is my nice new overpowered mat I backed that Kickstarter. I know you're probably saying, and that's the background you picked, blue. Well, I don't like images and distractions. It's beautiful though. Anyway, I am here to show you a complete playthrough of Tableau Obsession, and this is a really cool game, particularly for anybody who's not into the Victorian fate side of the theme. This is your cup of tea. And I'm going to be flying along here. I'm not going to elaborate. I'm not going to edit that out. I'm not going to elaborate on a lot of the strategy unless there's something that's particularly cool that pops up. As I want to get this less than 10 minutes, which I sincerely doubt. So let's begin. We have on the starter guests here, we have a male and a female, one without service, similar over here, so it's pretty matched. Servant draft, servant and family draft. So Ponsonby was picked by this player who is the last in the turn order, and they're going to take the cook at it. Over here we have Cavendish, who selected this as their second board. And they're going to come in here and they're going to grab the useful man. Just as a reminder, we're using this Tableau Obsession round track. It's an endless loop. You'll see that we have a series of village fairs, so it's smart to get in on the useful man. Although we probably won't get much past about that point before the game's over. What is it? It's a race to max reputation. Really only two things count primarily, which is going to be the value of your estate as calculated by the victory points on each of the improvement tiles, and your reputation. Bam! That's it. There's no courtship up there. None of these guest victory point totals count unless they're negative. If you're going to consort with the unsavory types, you're going to take a little bit of hit. You're not going to get very high scores in this. They're about 50. So getting a couple of negative guests can be a real downer. You also have ways that you can get both victory point cards and objective cards, primarily victory point cards through very prestigious guests. Objective card can come from a victory point card or can also come from the main library. Those are going to be relatively minor unless you get a big elite guest play late and you get 3-4 victory point cards, and it could be big. So let's get off to the races. These now are returned back to the servants for hire, which of course I promptly knock over, as walking and chewing gum has never been my strong point. I always do a variant where I populate 3 of the 4 service tiles in my first 3 spots. I love service. I love the power of service, and that's my variant, and I do it every time. And Ponsonby's got 300 pounds. Cavendish starts up on the reputation. So Cavendish's philosophy is going to be to push the reputation. Ponsonby's philosophy is going to use that cook by going ahead and getting this guest early and seeing if they can maybe get a level 3, level 4 guest in play right away. So we're off to the races. We're starting with Cavendish. I'll try not to shake this camera too much. First turn for Cavendish. Cavendish is interested in this servant's quarters, very powerful tile. Needs 600 for that tile. He's gone ahead and deployed the bowling green, which generates 300. The Earl is going to contribute 200. That's 500. Some of you are thinking that I'm miscalculating. The lady of the house looks at the top 2 guests. And normally I like to go with an American heiress early, but this is a quality guest, and she's the weakest of the American heiresses, so I'm going to get rid of her. And I have 500 to spend for the servants' quarters, which my useful man is going to discount by 100 pounds. I won't need my useful man until that village fair, so I have a chance to rotate him, which doesn't even really matter because I will have these servants' quarters, which I absolutely love. First turn for Ponsonby, we're going with the strategy of the main gazebo, hoping for a quality prestige guest invite that will allow us to use our cook early. We start with 200 pounds. We're interested in the butler's pantry. Whoops, we need to repopulate here. Flower room comes in. He needs 500 for that. 200 plus the 300 for the starting family advantage. 200 from the Earl gets me to my 500. I get a point of reputation from the Countess, and she invites this guest, which is not a good guest. A cad. Be nice to have a head housemaid and screen that invite, but I did not. Now we'll go to our prestige guest. Hey, look at that. That's the leading vote getter for the promo cards. I probably should have taken it out for this playthrough, but I will leave the Lady Mary Shelton in. Remember, I said I wasn't going to edit out all my stumbling and bumbling, trying to bang this one out quick. So she'll go into the deck, and I have the 500 to spend. Going to pick up that butler's pantry, which gives me a nice degree of flexibility. Turn 2. We're going to see the same play from both players, which is to prepare for this sequence of village fairs. Here we have the young lady and the heir. We're going to take from the option of 100 pounds of reputation. We're going to take reputation. The young lady is going to do an invite. Excellent. Elizabeth Viscountess Peel, great guest. Flip that over. And there is no money to spend. For Ponsonby, we have the lady of the house and her daughter. So we're going to be looking at invites. The first is going to be to look at 2 of these from the lady of the house. And, well, that's a disaster. I think that she's worse because of the negative victory points. Get rid of her. And let's hope that the young lady is a little better acquainted with folks, and she is. Sir Richard Branagh, Baronet. Okay, break this down. No money to spend. Turn 3, Village Fair turn. Cavendish is going to go ahead and hire, but before he does that, he gets 500 for the Village Fair and 2 reputation. The 500 for the Village Fair is because he's going to take his useful man and place him on the Village Fair at the beginning of this turn. That increases the efficiency of the Village Fair, and they get additional revenue. Going to hire. So the question is, what does Cavendish want to do with the 500 pounds? Again, the power play is here. This is sort of a secondary power play. Or does he want to sort of build an engine because he doesn't have much here? He's going to go ahead and grab that brushing room. It only costs him 100 pounds out of the 500 that he just brought in. And that'll move the music room down 100 pounds, and hopefully his opponent can't acquire it. So I have bad news for Cavendish. I think Ponsonby's going to be able to get that music room. First of all, they're going to take the 300 pounds from their village fair, as they have it here. They don't have a useful man to increase the efficiency, but they do get their 2 reputation. So now, in an effort to get that music room, we're going to go ahead and play the bowling green. And the cook is going to be deployed so that the Lady Mary will come, even though her prestige rating is 2 levels above the family's reputation. Her ability, besides getting reputation, is she can invite an additional guest. So this will be the second person who's going to be attending the activity. And then she brings along, because of her magnetism, another guest who happens to be the heir. So our money generated is 300 from the bowling green as well as 200 from these 2 guests. That's 500. Comes over and joins the village fair proceeds. Lady Mary generates 2 reputation. None came from the heir because we took his money. So we actually flip up to the second level. Now with this 800, we are going to take 700 and put it over here, and we're going to acquire that all-important music room, which not only has frontside victory points, but when flipped will be in a very attractive 6 victory point tile, which means a lot in Tableau Obsession. Turn 4, Cavendish is going to press the issue of reputation. I'm going to do so by going to the front parlor. Combined with the Viscountess Peel, Cavendish is going to be able to get a full level of reputation. So that's actually going to flip from a 2 to a 3. And we have 100 pounds coming from the Lady Sarah Lewis, which will get us back up to 500 pounds, which we had last turn. And they have their eye on the smoking room. Prestige tiles again, very powerful. The smoking room, only one on the front side, but a 4 victory point tile is not to be passed over when it's in your reach. Ponsonby is going to pass, take back their deck, and they're going to refresh their service. And one of the new abilities with the upstairs-downstairs expansion is that you are allowed to hire on a pass, which Ponsonby is going to do. Money is a little tight in this game, so thinking of getting a hall boy and then as well a useful man. Both of those will help with money, the useful man in the upcoming village fairs as well as discounts. So we have that done. We'll flip that tile. We're going to spend 200 to get this tile, which is the only other, it's really the only sporting tile that's come out. Gives them a path to a little bit of money. Turn 5, the Grand Ball. This is a new turn in Tableau Obsession only. And what it refers to is that at sort of a neutral location, given the competition of our families. Really? There's a magnificent event which takes place. And the consequences of this Grand Ball is that each player gets to take 3 cards from the Prestige deck. They form all sorts of advantageous connections at this affair, and they get to choose to keep 1. This is really a balancing mechanism which I want to emphasize in Tableau Obsession to get away from Victorian Fate. This, along with the main gazebo, which gives a Prestige guest invite, is a critical way to make sure that access to Prestige guests is spread evenly amongst the players to make it less prone to randomness. And indeed, the Honorable Regina Washburn is who Cavendish is going to take. And he'll put these 2 in the bottom of the deck. And on Cavendish's turn, he picked up a lady, but the last 2 cards that he had before he picked up Regina Washburn were these 2 gentlemen, and he's going to the smoking room and is going to make a very significant Prestige play. 2, 4, and 3 is 7. 7, that is a whole level of reputation. And now there's some real pressure, plus 2. Now there's some real pressure on Ponsonby because this player is really maybe 2 significant events away from immediately ending the game. Whoever hits max reputation first, the game is over. There's no more turns after that point. So we had that 7 reputation and 100 pounds. Now the disadvantage is a drawing room came in. Drawing room is one of those Prestige tiles that is really significant in this game, and they're certainly at 100 pounds not in play for that. Ponsonby begins their Grand Ball by looking at 3 cards. And very good cards indeed. I believe that the Countess Pembroke will be the one that we'll take. These cards will go back to the bottom of the deck. For their turn, for turn 5, Ponsonby is going to put together quite a nice turn. They're very impressed with what Cavendish was able to pull off over here, but they think they can do them one better. So we're going to the croquet field, which will be named the renamed the croquet lawn in the second printing. They're going to deploy their cook, which will allow, despite her family reputation of 2, for both Lady Mary and the new acquaintance, Countess Pembroke, to attend. And Lady Mary's ability to have an additional male guest brings along the Earl of Ponsonby. So now if we take a look at our revenue, we have 200 pounds there, and we have 400 pounds. Reputation-wise, we have 2 reputation here, 1 reputation there. That's a total of 3. Plus a reputation for the cook will give us another reputation. And then as far as invites are concerned, we have a 2nd level invite here, which brings along one of my favorites. The 500 pounds, I believe Ponsonby is going to bank because he feels he has an advantage over that 100 pounds to possibly get to the drawing room, although he's very suspicious of the 4 level of reputation. Turn 6, right before the national holiday. Down to one card here. So it is time for Cavendish to pass. Take back their deck, refresh their service. They are not going to hire. Cavendish is going to go ahead and take the 200 pounds from the pass, and he's going to spend that 300 to take the flower room discounted by 100 from his useful man. Comes over there, useful man goes into expended service. Ponsonby has to get busy with reputation. They can't be lingering that far behind. So we are going to get to the front parlor and flip that tile and pick up a reputation here. We're going to use the lady of the house's ability to dismiss a guest. I have 2 negative guests. Those will count against me. I'm now down to 1. So for this front parlor play, we don't have any income, but we do have 4 reputation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip that over to 3. Then we have an invite, and let's hope we do not do poorly. Indeed we don't. A fine gentleman, Sir Charles Wadsworth Baronet, will go into our hand. We have 500 to spend. We banked that intentionally from last turn to try to get into that drawing room. We didn't have a single guest that could bring us money, and I didn't want to replay a tile. So I'm going to, on my national holiday, play the music room. Gives me a path, and then I think I'm going to try to bank the money and get the drawing room in the national holiday. Time for the national holiday. And really, Cavendish is in a pickle. Cavendish just does not have a lot of source of income. They're not going to be getting high-value tiles. Their whole strategy has to be to end this game and end this game quickly. So that is their play. They're going to go to, pretty sad on a national holiday to be going to a start tile. He's going to be going to the main gazebo. Got to flip that one. It's -2 on the front side. And when you flip that, it's 2 on the back. That's a 4-point swing that's going to impact his tableau. He's got to play it, and he's trying to press the issue on reputation. We're going to bring down the head housemaid, the head housemaid to screen this prestige invite. We're going to have 2 prestige invites. Now remember, prestige invites are a big play in regular Obsession. We don't get the victory points for these prestige guests, not in Tableau Obsession. So while this is very impressive that they're going to be looking at 3 prestige guests, it's not quite the focus that we want. So hopefully they can tie into some big money or a victory point card in one of those prestige guests, which is why we're screening. And so what do we get no money in this activity. We do get 3 reputation, 1, 2, 3. So we're up to 5, and our opponent's at 3, so I like our position there. And we're going to first take 2 of these. And there's that victory point card we want, right there. That's big. We're going to take him. Going to return Plantagenet. The other one is not screened. Look at that. Could be a game changer. The 2 big 6s with victory point cards at the end of the game. So Cavendish is thrilled to death. However, Ponsonby is a cheeky fellow, and he doesn't care if Cavendish is thrilled to death because he's got a play of his own. He's going to the music room, which is obviously going to give him a very nice reputation bump and maybe start to close the gap. And, well, hello, take a look at this. Not only do we have Alistair, the Marquess, who is visiting, he is going to trigger an admirer bonus on the young lady. So we have 6 reputation here. That's 7 reputation. That's 11 reputation. We have 2 invites, and you know what? Even though we don't need her, let's have Mrs. Puggins whip up her larded oysters for the Marquess. And that will add another reputation. So that, my friends, is 12 reputation. So 10 reputation will get me to a 5. 11, 12. I just went from being way behind to ahead of Cavendish in reputation. What a wonderful play. And we have 2 single invites. Let us pray that we do not pull unsavory guests. Whoop! Oh my goodness! I looked at the wrong ones. And we pull 2 wonderful guests. Very pleased. Well, one's got a negative, but because he's a war hero, the negative is because he's a pauper. We don't actually incur any penalty, so that's fine. We're more than happy with that. We're thrilled with this turn, and we're still stuck on that 500 pounds. And do we want to do anything with it? They're still impoverished and not looking like changing that anytime soon. We're going to hang on to that. Turn last. Yes, it's turn last, and Cavendish realizes that he's lost the game. This is the interesting thing about Tableau Obsession. Once you get close to max and you can end the game, it's obvious to Cavendish that Ponsonby can go back to this music room and end the game. So it's incumbent upon him to somehow take advantage of these victory point cards, but he can't do it because he's a 5. If he weren't a 5, if he were a 6, he'd be able to pull 2 victory point cards and actually get his reputation to max and end the turn. So the fact that he's 3 behind a 6, 3 reputation lagging, cost him this game, because I believe, and we'll check what those victory point cards would be, I believe that would be the play that would put him over the top and compensate for the fact that he doesn't have as high scoring a tableau as Ponsonby. So he's rotated service. Let me put you down. I've got to look and rethink since I just realized my problem. Hold on a sec. Well, holy smoke, never throw in the towel. I don't know if this will get me here, but let's take a look. You know, I know there's players that would keep a running total of the 2 different tableaus and know exactly where they're at. I guess I'm not one of those players. But I can end the game, so at least I can prevent him from doing a big play, even if he's reusing the music room. Because what I have is my power was in men. I was thinking we should flip this flower room, but by going back to the smoking room, 3 gentlemen, and I have 1 reputation here, 2 there, and 2 there. I have the brushing room and a servant's quarters, so I was able to get to the proper level of service. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's went from 6 and to max. How about that? Pick up 100 pounds, that's meaningless. Money does not count in this game either. There's no invites, so there's nothing else that need to be done. The game is over. We'll see what Ponsonby thinks of that. Well, check this out. There's 17 in this tableau. Should have spent that money one way or another. 17 in this tableau, 13 in this tableau. 13 plus 28 is 41. 17 plus 21 is 38. And there are no victory point cards and there are no objective cards in play. Cavendish pulled that out at the end. An example there of the sudden end that takes place in Tableau Obsession. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video. I obviously, going 13 minutes over, I didn't come anywhere near my target of 10 minutes. I wanted to share a few thoughts with you. And first of all, I had a number of technical difficulties, and I have a little bit of pressure because I have some graphic art that I have to submit. I couldn't afford to go back and play a coherent game, so I was a little choppy, as well as I'm sure my strategy and tactics were abysmal, so I apologize for that. But I still think it gave a good look at the game and just how edge of the knife it is. This, in my opinion, is like Obsession chess. It's very different from Obsession because Obsession is about the theme first. This is about the mechanics first, and you could see that play out toward the end. And so hopefully I was able to demonstrate that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post on Board Game Geek a PDF of the Tableau Obsession round track, because there's no reason that people who own the Own Obsession without Upstairs Downstairs can't play Tableau Obsession with the base game. You can play it and you can experiment with it. It probably also is a game that plays better if you play an extended play. Now, how do you play extended play? You just add the 7-8 reputation counter, and so that the game will go longer. And in fact, I'm going to make available in Upstairs Downstairs a 9-10 reputation counter so that this game can go even longer for those that want to duke it out right to the bitter end. So hopefully you got to see Tableau Obsession play out. It's an interesting and fascinating game, and if you play the shorter version, it's literally about a 15-minute game, and you will see people creeping up to 2-3 reputation, and then bam, 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 somebody will end the game. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Sorry for a few of the technical difficulties and some of the poor strategic play. I just wanted to get you a look at Tableau Obsession along with the rules, which are posted into the Kickstarter page at the same time that this update video comes out.